live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello, hello.
Now, I got to say first before I tell you who I am, that we don't have a guest. My big sister Steph is back.
Woo.
Back off hiatus. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I feel renewed.
Okay.
Because this journey I've been on.
Yes.
And so every day I get to walk around in this house and it's like, God, this is my miracle.
Yeah.
Truly, this is my miracle. And so I'm just grateful for everything you and your prayers, your willingness to step out and go crazy with me, do this stuff. And somebody else would be like, I ain't helping you move. What is you talking like? You just said, yep, let's do this.
Look,
like,
let's do it.
So I appreciate you willing to be in this crazier faith thing with me. And I'm excited about what's to come. I just feel like we're on what is your word? Say your word.
The precipice.
Precipice. Yes, that word. We're on on our SAT words against the precipice of something big because of our obedience.
Yeah. And
you kept it going. So let me personally say thank you for you took it all on. Like typically you do a part, I do a part, but you took it all. I asked that you want. You're like, no, I got it. Right. So
no,
I appreciate you.
It's one of those things where I was like, so it's like, all right, I want to keep you involved, but like, I feel like that time was a time of rest and reflection for you. And so I didn't want you to have to do anything connected. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to just figure it out and take this on. You know what I'm saying?
You did amazing. Kudos to you. And thank you to every single person who was on with Jarrett. That was amazing. I looked forward to watching the episodes so that I could see what was happening. And so thank you all. Thank you so much. It was so much fun watching. That's why I said you like, well, shoot, maybe I don't need to come back. You got this thing on lock. It was so good. So kudos to you.
Stop it.
My little big brother. And thank you to every person who joined you on the show.
Yes, shout out to
that was amazing.
Cord and Jamia week 1. Our brother L, Lamont Thompson week 2. And shout out to Mike Brown. Mike Brown, we still get jokes about this, about how everybody loves Mike Brown more than they love me. But,
oh my gosh.
Like he's truly one of my guys. He's truly a friend, man. And I probably had to ask him maybe 2 days before the show aired, where everybody else had advance notice, at least a week. And he just stepped right in and was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. And we were able to get it done. So shout out to you, Mike Brown. Yes. And shout out to Vince Thomas, man, my pastor.
Hello. When you can call on your pastor for anything.
Man, listen. And look, it was something I was telling him, because you know how we'll talk for about an hour or so before the podcast starts. And that's in addition to our production meeting. But he and I kind of did the same thing. And I was just talking to him about every time that I've called him and asked him like for something, there hasn't been any hesitation. So like, you remember when we went up to Georgia State?
Yep. And he was right there.
He was right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I asked him to officiate the wedding. He was like, man, of course.
Right.
I asked him about this podcast a week before, you know what I'm saying, we were going to record, and there was no hesitation. So salute to you, man. We truly appreciate you.
Yes, all of y'all. Like, really, it was just amazing. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for holding us down.
Yeah. Well, I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, aka the Advantage Coach.
And this is episode 138 of the Field to the Real podcast. And it feels so good to have you back, Steph.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
And let's go ahead and dive right in, because we know Who's Really Right is the portion of the show where we get to duke it out on different sides of the coin. And so for this one, we talked a little bit about the NFL and what we've been seeing right now. And it's funny because every time you and I talk about a topic, and I haven't heard it before, it's like the day that we record, I'll hear somebody else talking about it.
I told you they'd be listening. Yeah. They're listening to our conversations. I promise you. Like, we had our production meeting, and now all of a sudden it's what y'all want to talk about. Yeah.
Patriot Act. I'm sorry, I'm a conspiracy theorist. But no, we've seen a lot of these NFL games, and so the only winless team is the Detroit Lions. Yes. But there's no team that's undefeated. Every team has a loss. And so usually
a couple even, right?
Yeah. Every team has a few losses. I don't think there's a team with one loss.
Yeah, no.
And so what that produces is parity. Like, there's no team right now that we can definitively say they are the Super Bowl favorites.
Correct.
But they will be the Super Bowl champion.
Nope.
And so our Who's Really Right for this week is this parity good for the NFL?
Okay.
Step. As mostly. Ladies first.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm torn, but I will say this. I think it's not good in one sense, because like I told you in our production meeting, I feel like when you have that juggernaut team or a couple of them that are just dominating, people get on board with that, right? I think even the non-real fan, the non-super fan, will get on board when there's a team that just seems to be doing really well, right? Like, I know too many people who are Patriots fans. You from the country,
those casual fans, right?
I know one who's a casual fan, and I know somebody who is a diehard football fan. Right. But that's because that team was a juggernaut for over a decade.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, missing that piece kind of takes away from, for some people, that ability to really just get into football, especially that it's always about those people who are not non-super fans, who are not real football fans, who just kind of like the game or like the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere when it's a juggernaut playing.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Okay.
It's different.
I can't see you. I can't see what you mean. I'm always coming from the standpoint of business.
Of course.
Well, mostly, not always, but mostly I'm coming from the standpoint of business.
Yeah.
And something you just said just now made me think about my whole position on this, because when I talk about, usually when I'm talking about music, I talk about the opportunities for growth. Right. Typically is with the casual fan, right? Mm-hmm. Those people who may not necessarily be a part of your core fan base, but may hear something and may gravitate to it.
Absolutely.
And so in this case, we talk about the casual football fan, and they may gravitate to whoever the hottest team is right now, right?
We're trendy. That's what we do.
Right. And so I do think there's a space and an opportunity for that. But one of the things I wanted to highlight was the NFL teams who are typically out of the race by now. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're still in the race. And one of the things we would see is that those fan bases start to fall off. Not that they're no longer fans, but they're not going to the games as often. So they're not selling as many seats. You know, they're not buying as much, you know, merch.
Yeah.
And so now that so many teams are jockeying and vying for a playoff spot, I think we're starting to see like some of those games that would probably be meaningless right now still have meaning because so many teams are in a position to, you know, go to the playoffs, to make a run, to put themselves in position to get in the playoffs. And so I think this is great for the NFL. I think, you know, like I said, that the opportunity for growth with those casual fans is there. But I think when we think about like these core fans in this fan base with sports, we know that, and this is why certain teams leave cities. This is why the St. Louis Rams became the LA Rams at some point, because I mean, it's a few different things, a few different reasons because of that. But what happens is if your fan base stops supporting because the team has been putting a poor product on the field, then, you know, you're not going to be getting that revenue that you would get if your team has the opportunity to make the playoffs. And so I saw this the other day with the Washington football team. Now, they haven't been able to fill that stadium for a long time. And, you know, I'm a Washington football team fan, so I had to use them. But the fact that they were able to at 5 and 6, 5 and 7, 5 and 6, right?
5 and 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Eagles are 5 and 7. So the fact that at 5 and 6, they were able to boost themselves into a playoff position at the moment, it still bodes well for our fan base because we can put more fans in the seats. There's a lot more excitement around the city. And even those casual fans in those cities who, if the Washington football team wasn't doing so well right now, they would be off the bandwagon. They're still kind of riding right now because there is an opportunity for, you know, the football team to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think about Georgia right now.
UGA.
Right? UGA.
Yeah.
Now, I knew when the game came on Saturday.
Right.
And they were playing Georgia Tech. Bless y'all hearts. That it was going to be a rout.
Okay.
I knew that.
Yeah.
But I still sat there.
And watched it.
And watched them whoop them down like they stole something.
Well, you're a diehard fan.
But I wasn't the only one, I'm sure.
Well,
like,
true.
You know, it's some people who aren't diehard fans who didn't go to UGA. That might be a little reason why I'm a diehard fan. You know, that kind of have that behind it, right? So I feel like, because officially I went to both schools.
Right. Yeah.
So I could have just been neutral. Typically, I'm neutral.
Yeah.
Even when I know Georgia's probably going to run through them, I'm still neutral. This year,
I think
because Georgia is up for it and doing what they're doing, I was solely rooting for them. I'm sorry for the betrayal, Georgia Tech, but I literally was like, it was good to see them play, because I've been worried, like it'd be that game that would be the one that somebody will come and beat them. No. Yeah. So to watch them win handily like they did was good to see. So I don't know. It's even as a super fan.
Yeah.
I still find, like, as I told you in the production meeting, the Steelers are my second team after the Falcons because of who they were.
Yeah.
Right? They ruled at an era before the Patriots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's when I became a fan.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, like, I've been rooting for Georgia because, one, I just love good defense. The way that they've been playing defense has been remarkable. I don't know that we've ever seen anything like that in college football. Not as good as Alabama's defense is. It's been real. Like, tell me a defense you've seen in college football that is smothered the way that they have. University of Miami. When they had Ed Reed at safety.
Okay.
Ed Reed was at safety. I believe Jonathan Vilma was at linebacker.
Okay.
Joseph, I believe, was at D-tackle. Like that defense. Philip Buchanan was at corner. Like that defense.
I remember that team. Yeah. I remember that team. Yeah. They just, but the thing is different than, I mean, we say that now because we know they went on to play in the NFL. I was about to say different than the Georgia team. Like those aren't, I mean, Georgia has high recruits on their defense, but it ain't, their high recruits are on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
So like these aren't, but these are cats, we're going to see them playing in the NFL. They're going to play in the NFL.
That's the thing when making these types of comparisons. Like these guys aren't finished being who they're going to
exactly be. That's why I said,
Ed Reed is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's hard. It's looking at them now, I just think back to that defense because I remember having the same feeling watching that defense, and I'm like, man, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
Anything.
And at the time, I believe I was a teenager, but
wow,
so it wasn't like I had been able to see much before.
I was like, you hadn't seen much at the time, but yeah. But, you know what? I'm so glad you said that. We're gonna take a moment, y'all. Let us know who's really right.
Oh yes.
Jarrett says, "This is good for the NFL.
This is good for the parity is good for the NFL."
And I'm on the other side of it. Like we just need one or two that we can predict, especially, I have another good point, fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
That is where this becomes an issue, big time. Yeah.
Only with, like, the inconsistency of defenses. But I think the top players are going to show out regardless, even the top players on bad teams. And so when you're drafting those players, like, think about somebody who drafted Zeke Elliott high. It's clear that they hadn't been paying attention for the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? And so, he's going to rise to the top. But if you drafted Tom Brady high, he's doing what Tom Brady does.
Right.
If you drafted Matthew Stafford high, like, with the exception of the last couple of weeks where his numbers have been.
Again, that parity.
Yeah.
It'll kill. It's killing these folks in this fantasy football. It is.
I think it always has, though.
Yeah.
It always has, because while some teams have been dominant, you may not have had players that were as dominant during those times, right? Like where one player might have a good game and, next week, maybe not so great.
Yeah.
And so that's the beauty of fantasy football, because like you can have a quote unquote all-star team.
Yeah.
But, if they aren't all playing well at the same time, then.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because you need a team, not one person.
Right.
All right. Well, y'all let us know who's really right. But I need to take a moment before we go on from who's really right.
Okay.
And say, we're going to just give a moment of celebration for my big little brother's birthday yesterday.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So Jarrett had a birthday yesterday, y'all.
Yes.
So happy birthday.
Thank you. 38 years young.
Amen. Listen, I saw something. Somebody was like, 30 is the new teenager. And now that's what they're saying. 30 is the new teenager and 50 is the new 30. And like, I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, thank y'all.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm going to embrace these grades.
The grades ain't got nothing to listen. I know people who've been gray since they were teenagers. So
true, yeah.
And these kids be dyeing their hair gray anyway. So
I have seen that.
So it doesn't matter. Gray is not the indicator anymore.
I earn mine.
Hey man, me too. Like everyone, oh my God, I earned them.
Not mine. I earn mine.
So I just wanted to make sure we took a moment. Everybody in the when you see this or when you hear this, make sure you drop a comment giving Jarrett love for his birthday. He amazing man, and he deserves all of the accolades and celebration that we can give him.
Thank you, big sis. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, 38 years.
Yes. So praise God. Listen, we just thank God for every year we get. Hello. Yes. Thank you. So just wanted to do that. I'm sorry. Okay. No, now we can go on.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.